here talking to Daniel von Rudiger from Kanu, Keram, who's just won an award actually at our festival in Milan. Well done, congratulations, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you
so much. So, where did it come from? How did this all start? What's the background? That's 3 questions in one. Sorry.
That's completely fine. I remember. The background actually is that I wanted to leave and wanted to do some social work as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And I was invited by Elizabeth Cox, which is like a social worker from Australia, living most of her life in Papua New Guinea.
So where were you living at the time? Sorry.
I was living, and I'm still live in Basel, Switzerland.
Right. Okay.
I'm original from Bavaria in Germany, Rosenheim. And I was invited by her to go to really remote places and to film these people there. And we had there was no plan to have like a documentary on these Kanu people yet, but it was like really to see how
to like scope it out and see what. Yeah. Okay.
Like we shot I shot a lot of different topics, culture and daily life, basically.
Right. Okay. So just tell me. So what was your connection to her? So she knew of your filmmaker, or had you worked with her before? How did that sort of come about? Because you're living in Europe. So what's the connection with her?
Actually, the connection came because of a professor in Basel who was shooting also a film before in Papua New Guinea, and he set me up with her, and she was happy that I
so it's on recommendation.
Yeah, it was a recommendation, and I wanted to work for free as a social filmmaker, so it was more like a political and social film project, which I did for free for her. And that is how we met, and she trusted me and she sent me tickets and I flew over.
So you're over in Papua New Guinea, you know there might be something, you're not entirely sure what's going to happen. So how did the whole project come about? I mean, just give us some background on how you decided to make the film that you ended up making.
Actually, all the time I was over there, I was shooting like every day, daily life. You first have to live with these people, that they get used to the camera. It's like really, really remote villages, no electricity, no jobs. It's like, yeah. And I was just interested in different topics, and like these people building canoes, I was amazed by their strength, by their social connectedness. And when I came back, there were like a couple museums having exhibitions about the Sepik region, which I was, this jungle river Sepik. So it was the Gropiusbau in Berlin and the Riedberg Museum in Zurich. And they saw my footage and they were interested to exhibit it in their exhibitions. And then also another museum, the Museum of Culture in Basel, saw the footage. And for their permanent exhibition, they wanted to have the footage.
Yeah.
And then they post-produced it. And so this editing of this now film was done in post-production with the Museum of Culture, and it runs there in Basel for the next 5 years in a permanent exhibition.
So how much of the footage on... Sorry, let me rephrase that. How much footage could you have used that you cut away? I mean, is there a longer version that's available? Does that make sense? Because obviously you've made this it's a short film, isn't it?
Yeah. It is. It makes sense in that sense that I have a lot of other topics on footage, and I'm doing right now the next editing of a completely different topic. So there are a lot of topics, a lot of footage, and I use all of this footage in many different ways. I have a audiovisual live performance where I work together with Carl, and we called 0101, where we do like audiovisual live performances with the same footage.
Oh wow!
Playing live music, live VJing this material.
Sort of like an interactive. I don't know if interactive is the wrong word. I don't know.
It's a live editing to music. It's like more a performance piece. I also use it for video installations and a more artistic surrounding for exhibitions and stuff. So I use the footage in different ways. Also like here, like in a ready edited film documentary, but the footage is used in multiple ways.
And is it possible to explain? This is going to be quite a difficult question here. I don't normally ask this, but we are all living in a quite the Western environments we live in. I mean, we're blessed. We all bitch and moan about the lives we have with taxes and jobs and all sorts. But the fact is, you could be in Austria or Switzerland or Germany or the UK. But when you compare it to some other place on the planet, we're in that top 1 percentile, frankly, aren't we? But can you explain what it's like to? I don't know if you were used to being in Papua New Guinea, because it looks from the film, and this is a tough existence, it looks to me. They might be used to it, but that shock of the new, of being amongst that compared to the life you have, is there any way you can possibly explain what that's like to see?
Yes, I think...
Because I've got no I've got no way to relate to it. That is the point I'm trying to make.
I think like the shock, maybe to put it to a point, the shock is not when you go there and see how they live, but the shock is when you come back and how we live and how much we bitch.
Yeah, well, that's interesting.
So it's like, yeah, and the positive thing is like when you go like to places where we think, oh, these poor people, like it's a hard life, and it is definitely
it's
hard
tough.
life.
It's tough.
It's definitely tough, but hey, they
are
are doing
happy?
great.
Are they happy?
They are happy.
Right. Okay.
They're happy, and as long as we don't mess too much with them, like if the outside world is not interfering, and like these people they have Coke before they have a toothbrush. So yeah, if we keep them alone, they're happy, and it's like much more that you think like when you come back, okay, like kind of we have everything, so what are we bitching about? Like,
yeah, why are we worrying about the flat screen TVs now? Am I going to afford the Audi or whatever it's going to be?
Yeah.
And it sort of puts in, I've got no idea, but I guess it puts into perspective that they've got very little, but I wonder what their materialistic happiness they're not particularly bothered about, I guess, in comparison to you or I. If you see what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I think that makes also these people really happy, that like you have needs like being hungry, and you go out to your fields and you get your food.
And then food, yeah.
And then, it's like really not a money-based society yet. So everything you need, you get by yourself, and that makes you happy. It's not, I say it like this, they have a much harder life and a much more simple life. And we have a much more easy life, but much more complex life.
Oh, yeah.
So in this comparison, I think like, that makes you happy if you realize like you're doing is producing something for yourself. It's different than stock market, like which is quite complex. And,
So you're, again, it's a bit of a silly question, but you're happy with the film that you ended up with, and is it everything you hoped it would be? Or do you think?
Yes, I mean, for me the most important thing is that I show the happiness and like the good part about these regions, which in the first place seem for us like almost like they don't have so much like we have. They are doing fine, and for me the second most important thing is that I go back and give the film back, because they feel like, okay, you go there and you kind of almost steal something by filming them, like you.
Interesting.
So it's really important to go back and present
Hence
them.
the trust
also.
you're talking about. Yeah.
I take something. I take images from them. They give it for me, like these images, and that has to do a lot with trust. And of course, for me, it's important to dedicate this film to these people, because go back and show it to them and show a lot of respect. And I have a lot of respect to these people.
Yeah, and what's next, Daniel? What's not a sequel, but what have you got planned at the moment?
Like really, like
I know you're doing this installation and this.
Yes,
yeah.
using this footage in completely different ways. Also in like I said, like the live performance with 0101, and going back. I'm planning on 2018 go back and
to Papa. Okay.
And probably like focusing on this region. I'm really happy that I was introduced to this region. You cannot just go there and appear in a village like that.
No.
So and give back this piece of film to the people of Papua New Guinea.
And I know we just talked momentarily about going there, coming back. It makes you think, but has it changed you as a person? Sincerely, has it made you think about things differently?
I hope everybody's changed every day by his life, but yes.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah,
you know what I'm getting at.
No, of course. Like I also went there as a more. I had some reasons why I wanted to leave. So, and I was really stressed out, and I guess the biggest present I got from these people is like, be more relaxed, be more happy, and we survive, and surviving is already a big good in this world, and every day in this world, in many places. So we should be already happy that we survive. We don't. And it's funny actually, because they are threatened by so many more things, but they are more relaxed, and we are like. If you look at political situations, I don't want to get into this, but we are much more stressed, and political ways fear, and we don't have to fear so much like media is often telling us. It's
and particularly I think there's a lot of things that you and I are geographically drawn into, even though we live countries apart. For instance, Brexit, Trump, what's going to happen in Italy tomorrow, what's happening in Austria, and so we are very affected by all of these. But I suppose on a micro level, I mean, I don't know the country, but I'm guessing all that concerns them. Maybe it doesn't concern them much, is what's happening to them. But maybe they're not that concerned. I don't know how it works in comparison to us, but we are continuously worrying about the whole geopolitical sort of landscape in terms, because we are connected, aren't we? That's a fact. And for instance, with Brexit, whatever your point of view is, you can't tell me you haven't thought about, oh, hang on a minute, what's going on? Because you do, don't you?
Yeah, of course. And to put it that way, I mean, fear is like the most primitive feeling we have, and that is why it's really powerful. And like somehow we feel like really being sophisticated and a well-educated Western society, but fear still works really, really good on us.
It does, yeah.
And that is like a really sad thing, actually, because there shouldn't be so much fear about many, many things which can raise really bad political, hate. Like after fear, you can raise hate, and that is always. And I think. And these people in Papua New Guinea, of course, most of them never leave their village. They don't know what's going on in the other countries, and I think it's like
well, the internet, what's that kind of thing?
It's a really interesting question because it will change a lot. I mean, to have a harsh example, I mean, there are people that have already a cell phone. They get now more and more network. It's also a big security thing. Like if you're bitten by a snake, it helps you to have a network.
Yeah.
On the other side, they are not yet capable to collect rainwater, and it's raining every day. But it's a complex thing to collect rainwater and not have it polluted.
Yeah.
So of course, that's like they have a huge jump in technology, and I have no idea what will happen to these societies because of internet and seeing other societies. But what is sometimes a little bit sad, like when these societies see through internet what we all have, and then they want to have it, but actually, materialistic things don't make people more happy.
Absolutely.
And we also pay a big price to have everything we have. We work hard. We are stressed.
Yeah, I think you're right, absolutely right. I think I always put it down to we've now got all the instant gratification in terms of whether we read about the news or sport or history or whatever it is. It's all there at your fingertips. Which on one hand, it's an amazing, incredible thing, but something's been lost along the way, I think.
Yeah, and I'm on the other side really, really optimistic that things go their way. I mean, change.
It's inevitable. Yeah. I mean,
and I think it's also something not good if we are too romantic and we try. Oh, now it's really sad that they also get internet and they will. On the other side, I mean, it's out there, the internet. So sooner or later they have the right also to see it and to get it.
Yeah.
But to put it that way, like I went there for do development work and in some context. But the harsh thing about development work is just to control what bad things we do with them. They don't need development. Like I think we sometimes need anti-development in some sense, but but they need development help in that sense that we look out what we mess with them, in big corporations, mining, and all the things cool things which go on in Papua New Guinea, which they don't have any influence on.
No, it's just happening, but they've got. Yeah. Daniel, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Brilliant. I knew it'd be a great interview. Well done.